That Bay Area.
What's up, Richmond, CA? There's some real stuff right here.
Add on coming down here.
It's Aji, man.
Add on.
Once upon a time.
Add on.
I knew how to rhyme.
Keep your at home. Me on. Me want to own. Me on type of flow.
That's all I got to say.
Me on.
Alright.
Or me want to own. Me on type of flow.
Welcome back to another episode of the Add On Podcast. Right back with another episode. Been a minute, been taking a break low key from the podcast. So that's my bad. I haven't dropped an episode, I don't think, in pretty much almost a month. So definitely been slacking, but we back up on the grind, man. Let's talk about the Mr. Olympia though, man. The Mr. Olympia, I don't know if you guys, people probably watching my podcast don't really watch bodybuilding. But I pretty much got into bodybuilding pretty much a couple years ago. Like my family kind of like watch a lot of old stuff. And kind of how I got into it was actually, the original kind of Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno. Obviously, like that, I believe that one came out like in the 70s or something like that. And then my dad actually said that, Lou beat out Arnold for the role. And I kind of looked that up and just kind of got into more and more about bodybuilding. Lou Ferrigno's cool, legend. So obviously once I searched him up, Arnold popped up, and then, Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and things like that. So Mr. Olympia, actually, I'm definitely been watching Keep It Up with Bodybuilding, definitely for the past couple of years for sure. A couple YouTubers I watch, Nick Strength and Power, and most been watching him for about three years now, I believe, going on 3 years. I believe I started watching him around maybe 2019, 2020 maybe. And then, so we going on strong heading into 2023, almost 3 years for that. And then Bodybuilding and BS, another YouTube channel I've been kind of tapping into as far as bodybuilding to, get better and more knowledgeable about it and things like that. But yeah, Mr. Olympia, man, is dope. Bodybuilding is dope. If you're not a fan of bodybuilding, obviously you don't gotta achieve that physique. That's like the highest level physique that you can ever achieve. Those dudes blast PEDs, steroids and all that. So I'm not saying do all that, but bodybuilding is nice, man, for sure. It's an interesting sport, for sure. Looking forward to this year, man. It's a stack. This is probably one of the most stacked Mr. Olympias, I think, in a minute. Obviously, Big Ramy is probably the favorite. That dude is just insane, like his size. and if he comes with this even a better level of conditioning he's had, I don't see anybody really beating Big Ramy. But it's just interesting, man, for sure. I think probably one of my favorites, Derek Lunsford. I like Derek Lunsford. I like Michael Krizo. Nick Walker, the mutant Nick Walker. I think he's going to shock a lot of people who don't have him in the top three. I think Nick Walker is going to be, if he comes with like in shredded, man, I think Nick Walker is going to be top three this year. Literally anybody can win. Because if Big Ramy comes in off, anybody can win that show. Hadi Chupa could win. He has the best conditioning. Brandon Curry could win. He's probably the most aesthetic physique. Really anybody can win this Mr. Olympia, man. That's what makes it so exciting. And it's actually in Vegas. I actually live in Vegas too, so I definitely would want to go. I looked at the tickets, something like $1,500, $25. I don't like bodybuilding that much. Like, so I'm not going to spend that money on no bodybuilding show, but it's just nice, man, for sure. And then heading kind of, we'll touch back into it, but heading into kind of like all time, obviously I think I gotta put Ronnie Coleman as the GOAT as far as bodybuilding. I mean, that dude is just insane, man. He's probably one of the most. When I saw him, man, I think, that was just crazy, man. I was still in high school actually too when I first was watching Ronnie Coleman, his old training videos, him squatting 800 pounds and the 25-something hundred leg press he was doing. I'm like, how is he pushing this much weight? And I really didn't know much really about like kind of steroids and stuff like that and things like that. I remember reading this one book called Gym Candy. Read that years ago. One of my favorite books, and it was kind of a book talking about a football player and how he used steroids. Somebody told him he should use it, and then ended up committing suicide at the end. So I always knew the dangers of steroids and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm never gonna take steroids, but it's still kind of just fun to watch bodybuilding. Those dudes take steroids. They know the dangers of it. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully they don't. A lot of bodybuilders are dying young. So I think that's a mixture of abuse of steroids and just like not getting the proper checkups when you should. Because you look at Jay Cutler, man, he's still doing fine right now. Lee Haney still doing fine. Dorian Yates still doing fine. Those dudes is one of the greatest, three of the greatest bodybuilders ever. But then you got some people, I'm not gonna say any names, that are just dying young, or people who just didn't train smart. Ronnie Coleman being one of them. Yeah, he is the GOAT, but I mean, he didn't train smart. And he said in multiple interviews, though, he had no, regrets. He actually said he wished he squatted more on the 800-pound squat. He only did, I think, 2 or 3 reps. He said he said he could have did 6 or 8. So, I mean, Ronnie Coleman, when you talk about giving your body, literally your all, your whole body, giving your body to the sport, that's the epitome of what Ronnie Coleman did. There'll never be another Ronnie Coleman, man. Like, this dude is just insane. I kind of feel bad for the condition he's in now. Obviously, all the back surgeries he's had and stuff like that. But that dude's physique, man, was insane, man. So I definitely got to put Ronnie Coleman number 1. Number 2, where it kind of get tricky because obviously it's easy to say Lee Haney because he got 8, but you can also go Arnold. You could also go with the Shadow Dorian Yates. You could also go Phil Heath. He got 7, Mr. Olympia. So it's kind of hard to put, but I probably will put Lee Haney at number 2 just because that dude's physique was just insane in the 80s. And then number 3, you got to put Arnold. Now here's the thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7-time Mr. Olympia. If you put him as the GOAT, you really can't argue because I really don't. How you got to judge the Mr. Olympia? Obviously, Arnold and Ronnie, they're 2 different eras. So obviously, Ronnie's physique overall was better, but I believe that's because they had access to better drugs, better steroids than what they were taking back in the 70s and Arnold's time, which was the golden age of bodybuilding, him battling out with Frank Zane and Sergio Oliva, things like that. So I think with Arnold, you could arguably put him at number GOAT too. He has the best chest ever. Nobody has achieved. That dude's chest was so thick, man. And one of the best arms as well, Arnold. So I think I put him at number 3. Then number 4, I probably put the Shadow Dorian Yates. Here's the thing about Yates, Phil, and Ronnie. I think a lot of people, the younger generation, probably say that Ronnie had the best back ever. But man, I'm looking at Dorian Yates, man. It just and same thing with Phil Heath. I think Ronnie definitely had a wider back than Dorian and Phil. But when you talk about the density of the muscle and just the thick, like not necessarily the thicker, but just the detail, the dryness of the back. I think low key, Yates and Phil had a better back than Ronnie. And there's no shade on Ronnie. Ronnie's back was tremendous, but I'm just talking about the detail, like the density, especially Phil Heath. That dude's back was insane. So I think if you talk about the best backs ever, Ronnie's in that conversation, but I would probably lean more towards, Yates and Phil. When you talk about, best chest, best legs, best arms, okay, then you can start talking about Ronnie and stuff like that. But even talking about legs, Tom Platz probably had the best legs ever of the Mr. Olympia, things like that. And also, obviously, you can't forget, what did I say? I said, Ronnie, Haney, Arnold, Yates, and then obviously you can't forget Jay Cutler, 4-time Mr. Olympia, defeated Ronnie Coleman back in 2006, finally dethroned him. And Jay's still doing his thing, man, making a lot of money, lives in Vegas. I think Jay's probably, out of all the bodybuilders ever, Jay's probably one of the best, just people who influencers, like as far as people getting more people into bodybuilding, being a good, just ambassador for the sport. I think Jay's he goes to a lot of expos and things like that. Him and Arnold for sure. Obviously the Arnold Classic, things like that. But Jay's, he's up there too, one of the best ever. I think he's probably top 5, top 6 all time, Jay Cutler. But back to this year's Mr. Olympia, man. It's gonna be a tough one, man, for sure. I really don't know, man. It's gonna be exciting. Hopefully I can watch the live stream that day. Hopefully that day of the Olympia I don't have work because I really do want to watch the live stream since I probably can't go in person. But I'm looking for, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know, man. I kind of want to upset, but then I also like Rami too. I want him to get his 3rd, but I just really want Nick Walker to place in that top 3, and then I hopefully Crizzo can place. Crizzo, I think for sure would place in top 10 for sure. I think he's better than Ian Valier, and that's just my opinion. And then I forgot to mention Andrew Jack. That dude is insane as well. I think he's like 6'6'1". Going to be around 290 pounds on stage or something like that. Andrew Jack is nice for sure. He's training with Larry Wills. I've been watching Larry Wills for a while, and I never realized that was Andrew Jack in the videos because he just really started getting into bodybuilding, like bodybuilding. Probably maybe this past year or whatever. So he's only been doing it seriously probably for like a year. He's been training, obviously, and lifting, heavy weights and stuff like that for years probably. But, Andrew Jack is kind of new to the sport, and he's already in his 30s. Ronnie Coleman was surprised he was that old too. I thought, maybe, Jack was probably late 20s, I thought. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. As far as a prediction and things like that, I listened to a lot of predictions and stuff like that. And most people have Big Rami winning pretty much on every list. But it's that top three, that first call in obviously is probably gonna be the same. Obviously, with Rami, Brandon Curry, Hadi Chupin, things like that. Nick Walker, not to mention what's that one dude's name? Hunter Labrada. I don't think Hunter, man. I don't know. I think Derek Lunsford is better than Hunter. That's just my opinion. That dude's width in his back. Derek's a humble guy, man. Humble guy. Listen to him on Ronnie's interview and stuff like that. Derek Lunsford is a humble guy, and just coming from 212 and then to be able to place top 6 in this, I guarantee you, Derek Lunsford gonna be in the top 6. Guarantee you, man. Derek Lunsford's physique is insane, and like I said, most of you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about. This is all bodybuilding stuff. I'm getting more into bodybuilding as far as a fan of it. Not that I want to be a bodybuilder or anything like that. I'm just a fan of the sport, and I pretty much know all the history. Like I said, from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Lou Ferrigno, Lee Haney, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, blah blah blah. And so on and so forth. And sorry, I didn't mention Phil Heath in my top 5. I think Phil Heath is probably top 5, probably just ahead of Jay on that top 5 for sure. Yeah, interesting. It's going to be interesting, Mr. Olympia, for sure. Let's transition to the NFL, though. Obviously, the NFC East, the Washington Commanders, my favorite team, man. We're 7-5-1, sitting third in the NFC East. We bumped right ahead of the Giants since they lost against the Eagles. We should have won that game against the Giants last week when we tied, man. We really should have won. Daniel Jones, average. Taylor Heineke's average too, but I feel like we're just playing at a higher level than the Giants right now. That's why I think when we play them again, we had a bye this week. And AD's coming off that brutal loss against the Eagles. I feel like the Giants' downfall, they're the trajectory that's going down. We're at a trajectory that's going up. So I definitely feel like the Washington Commanders are going to make the playoffs, man. People call me crazy, man. But like, hey, I've been a fan of I'm not jumping off the Washington Commanders. Like I know the name probably sucked to some people, and they know them as the Redskins, and some people even like the football team better. But not jump. I remember a couple years ago when we won 3 games, I still was a fan. Like, I'm not gonna jump off just because I live in Vegas. That don't mean I gotta be no Raider fan. Like I respect the Raiders and the stuff they do, and maybe I'll cheer for them. When they're not going against my team. But it's like I just don't see me liking any other team other than the Commanders. But I think we got a good shot at, winning the division, man. It shocked a lot of people. Anything can happen, man. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. Obviously, Dak is the best. I don't even know if he's the best quarterback in the division. Jalen Hurts is going to be the MVP this year, looking like it. Jalen Hurts, man, I'm surprised. Like, I didn't think, even after they got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and all these different pieces and stuff, I really still didn't think Jalen Hurts was going to be doing this great in the NFL and heading into Week 14. Being going to be the MVP favorite. I really didn't think that, honestly. But for them to, obviously, we handed them their first loss. But, I don't really blame it. Maybe it was a fluke. And the only reason why I call it a fluke is because I feel like the Eagles didn't take us seriously. That's why I call it a fluke. I feel like if they were to take this seriously, not trying to take anything away from my Commanders, but, I just don't. That's why when I tell a lot of people, hey, we beat the best team in the NFL, they be like, it don't mean nothing. I still think it holds some substance to it, but, who knows? Obviously, the Giants, they did, like I said, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. It's going to be interesting to see where Odell lands. People say he might go back to the Giants. I don't know about that. I don't see it. I really wanted him to, come to Washington. But he probably ain't going to come there. Thought he was for sure going to sign with the Cowboys. I mean, he was at the Dallas Mavericks game with Michael Parsons and Trevon Diggs. And still no contracts being signed yet. I don't know what the holdup is with Odell. Maybe he just wasn't all the way right. His knee, obviously coming off that ACL repair off the same knee. Got 2 surgeries on the same knee, which is not good. But Odell is that dude. Only 30 years old. So, I think if anybody can bounce back, it's Odell. He's bounced back for 4. So he can do it again for sure. But y'all keep a lookout for my Commanders, man, for sure. The NFC East is stacked this year. Compared to all the other years, it might be one of the best divisions, if not the best division in football. Like I said, we will probably have 3 teams that'll make the playoffs. I think by when it's all said and done, you'll probably have, depending on how things go in the NFC South and the other NFCs, divisions and stuff like that, we might have 3 teams make the playoffs if it's possible. I don't even know if that's possible, but man, we could possibly have, like I said, Cowboys, Eagles, and Washington hanging in, because if the playoffs started today, we would be in that playoff position. I feel like the Commanders in that wild card spot. So I think I think our toughest game left obviously will be against the Cowboys and will be against the 49ers, which will be tough. I'm kind of really scared for the 49ers, especially after what they did to the Bucks. Even though the Bucks aren't really a good team this year, but blowing them out like that and then adding Christian McCaffrey to that mix, it's going to be very tough. They have a very, very good offense and a very, very good defense as well. So that's going to be a pretty scary game for us. But I do think we get Chase Young back. He was supposed to come back a couple weeks ago, but it's always something like, illness, or they just kind of want to be patient. And I agree with it. It's no sense of rushing Chase back. Even if we have to, sit Chase out for the whole season and he come back for the playoffs fresh, that'll be good too. But it also may not be good to throw him right into a fire of a playoff game. So hopefully he comes back against the Giants next Sunday. That's a big time game, very serious game, and I think Chase Young just brings that leadership. Even though we don't, I wouldn't say we need Chase Young, and that's not disrespect to Chase. I'm saying because it's just with Chase would set us over the top. And I think all of our front four have at least 6 sacks, I believe so. Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, all those dudes have, I think, over 6 sacks, or at least 6 sacks if I'm not believing I saw a stat. So we holding our own for sure. And there's still some people in the back end that's kind of, doing good or hurt as well. I think Cam Curl was still out as well. But really on our offensive end, what we need to do is just kind of, when we get in the red zone, we got to convert, man. We settling for a lot of field goals. So we don't really get a lot of points when we in that red zone. So Heinicke, them dudes, Brian Robinson, all this. I love Brian Robinson, what he's doing, especially after getting shot and still being able to produce. So he definitely, helping us. But I think just on our offensive end, if we can get more help from McLaurin. And I saw Logan Thomas, and sometimes I still think he's hurt. I don't know why they don't feature him as much as they did last year, especially in them red zone situations. I mean, Logan Thomas is probably going to be one-on-one. He's a big target, 6'5", 6'6", throwing the ball. I don't understand why he's not being more involved and we're settling for field goals and stuff like that, because it may work against some of these teams, but come playoff time, when we're going against the elite level teams, we have to score in the red zone. We got to take advantage of it. So that's one thing I'm looking for my Commanders to start doing. But I'm liking what I'm seeing for sure. Obviously, when it didn't happen so great with Wentz. Unfortunate for him, but I think this is Heinicke. Like I said, I never said overall Heinicke is a better quarterback than Wentz. I still believe that Wentz is the better quarterback. I truly do think that. I just think for this particular team and the way this team is constructed, offensive line, the kind of the weaknesses in that, and then the offense, and it's just Heinicke's able to he's more mobile and he's able to extend more plays. He doesn't have the arm talent, he doesn't have the height and just the build of Carson Wentz, which kind of got him to be, that high in the draft. But I think for this particular team, Heinicke was the right choice, and he's proven right. I mean, he's only lost one game this year, Heinicke. In that game that we lost, we should have won. I believe was it against against the Titans, if I'm not mistaken. We lost that game, and that's because he threw a late pick, which if he didn't have to throw that, I believe we would have won that game as well. So I think for Heinicke, and then we tied last week's game against the Giants. So we on the roll, man, and we'll kind of see what happens. Like I said, I think our last 2 toughest games will be against the Cowboys and the Niners, but we'll kind of see what happens with Taylor Heinicke, man. But people keep laughing at me, man. Y'all watch out for the Commanders, man. I know it's kind of low key and stuff like that. And they changing names and they got all these different quarterbacks and stuff like that. And put some respect on Scary Terry too, because he putting up all these numbers with. I really want to know how many different starting quarterbacks have Scary Terry had, Terry McLaurin, since he got into the league, man. He had all these different dudes. R.P. Dwayne Haskins had him, had Taylor Heinicke, had Carson Wentz, had I can't even think. It's been a lot of Alex Smith had so many different quarterbacks he throwing him with the ball, and he still produced. So, like I said, imagine if he had one elite level quarterback. Is Taylor Heinicke the answer? Is he the future? Is he the franchise quarterback? I really don't know. Honestly, I feel like we should just kind of fill out this year, see if we win a playoff game, see if we get to the playoffs, and depending on how Heinicke goes, we'll see if we need to go in a draft again or try to find somebody in free agency, honestly. I really wanted Russ in free agency, but the way he's playing, I'm kind of glad he didn't do it. Because even Heinicke playing better than that dude. And that seemed like freaking Russell Wilson fell off a cliff, no disrespect. But I like Russ. And hopefully he bounces back for the Broncos. But I don't even think we need to go in the draft. Obviously, we got Sam Howell on the bench. Some people want us to start Sam Howell as well, but we'll see, man. I'm liking what I see from Taylor Heineke. I'm liking his ability to throw the football. He makes seems like he throws one bad throw a game, makes some dumb throw interception. I want to see Heineke kind of use his legs more and just dump it off the screen pass, throw it out of bounds, use his legs to get the first down instead of forcing it. Those will hurt us, down the stretch. But I think he's seen these things in film, and even maybe this bye week, that hopefully they kind of set Heineke down and be like, man, you don't got to take that throw. Take the dump down, or use your legs, get out the bounds, take a little short passes. Even if you don't get the first down, because it's better than throwing a pick. Which would cost us a game like it did against the Titans. Moving on to the Lakers, though, man, 11-15. They lost 3 straight. They won 3 straight and they lost 3 straight, but then they finally won again yesterday, I believe. So was against the Pistons. Yep. And I think Anthony Davis was on a roll, man. We talking about MVP chance. Then he misses 2 games, and then kind of, you don't not really hearing it so much. But I'm liking what I've seen from Anthony Davis. Loving what I'm seeing from Russ. He's not putting up big numbers, but he's averaging, I believe, double-digit assists. Had a couple straight games, no turnovers, which was crucial for Russ. Like what I seen for the Lakers, man, 11-15. Not a good record, obviously, but I think the Lakers. I think even like the Laker community is kind of like switching sides. Like they was off the bandwagon of Russ. Now they kind of back on it. Like I said, the 3 games that they lost, they definitely could have won. I just think that defense got to tighten up. But I like the overall team. I really do. I like Reeves. I love Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder, Patrick Beverly, obviously LeBron, AD, Russ. I love the Lakers, man. I like what they're doing. 11-15. I'm not a Laker fan. Like I said, I'm a LeBron fan. But obviously, wherever LeBron go, I'm a support. And it's just I don't know. I just think Lakers are just up and down. They're very, very inconsistent. Can't really shoot the 3 consistently. Obviously, the defense has to get better. But like I said, if AD stays on this pace, man, we're continuing to run the offense through AD, and they continue to dominate. Who knows? Lakers could make the playoffs, man, and do some serious business in the playoffs. Like I said, they lost. They won 3 straight, lost 3 straight, and then they won against the Pistons last night. So like I said, they're up and down. Them 3 that they lost, easily they could have won if AD and LeBron had played, and they just had played, better defense and stuff like that. But yeah, Darvin Ham is doing a great job. And Russ, the biggest thing for the Lakers is Russell Westbrook is embracing his role. Something I thought, even on the podcast, I thought he wouldn't be able to do. I thought his ego would get to him so much. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. I got the most triple doubles in NBA history. But no, Russ is embracing his role. And he's helping the Lakers. He's doing big things. My boy Shannon Sharp saying the same thing. We wanted to trade Russ at first, but now we're like, hey, let's keep Russ because he's embracing his role, getting double-digit assists, busting his tail off, diving for loose balls and stuff. Yeah, that a couple games ago had that one dive on the floor for a loose ball that actually won us the game. It really helped us for sure. And he's shooting pretty good too. Russell Westbrook from 3 and stuff like that. He's doing his thing, like I said. So I think if everybody continue to pitch in, if Anthony Davis, hopefully I pray that he stays healthy and continue to dominate, I don't see why not the Lakers can't make the playoffs. Like, truly make the playoffs. Not no play-in. They can actually make the playoffs. Like, because a lot of people don't even know. I think the Warriors are, like, in the 9th seed right now. But nobody really is going really that crazy in the West. The Pelicans are the first in the West. And I ain't going to lie, Pelicans, since I got a favorite team, I think Pelicans starting to be my favorite team. I said that a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, actually, I think so. I love me some Zion Williamson, man. Been watching that dude since high school. That dude was going crazy. Had like back-to-back 35-point games, averaging 25 a game. Zion is a monster, man. He's proving all them doubters wrong, man. Y'all said he was too fat. Y'all said he was a bust. Y'all was talking crazy last year, and he's really, really showing you guys. And he was doing all that without, remember, they got the best record in the West. I think they won like 6-7 straight games. And, Brandon Ingram's been out for these past couple of games. And that's when Zion is really going to take off as he's doing right now. I think with the Pelicans, man, they really the sky's the limit. I think they're like kind of that factor that really nobody's talking about in the West. They're talking about the main teams in the West, as we know, Dallas and the Warriors and things like that. But I think with the Pelicans, nobody really talking about them. And I'm just going to try to see what kind of happens in the playoffs. Because remember, the Pelicans made the playoffs last year without Zion. But I think this year with Zion, they can go really, really deep in the playoffs, man. They're a young team, gets up and down the court. I like Larry Nance as well. Obviously, CJ McCollum. great coaching staff. So they definitely, a great team for sure. I'm just curious to see how it works out with Brandon Ingram and Zion come playoff time. Two guys that kind of need the ball. Zion can make the right play for sure. I'm not too really sure about Brandon Ingram, things like that. I mean, it's not like Brandon. It's not really he like need the ball. I mean, it's not like he gonna just sit there and stand in the 3-point line. He can get down low on the post, shoot the fade, and Zion can even run the point in certain positions. I've seen Zion bring the ball up the floor, make the right pass, and he's just so dominant, man. Like if you get his head of steam, there's nobody in the NBA to stop Zion. There's nobody. The dude, we really ever seen anybody in NBA history at that size, at that athletic, that fast? Charles Barkley, this Charles Barkley 2.0. So when people were making comparisons to Charles, man, I respect Charles Barkley, but I was kind of laughing. Like, this Zion is Charles Barkley 2.0. There's never been anybody in NBA history at that size, 6'6", 285 pounds, with that level. I think he has a 40+ inch vert. He can shoot the three too. He don't shoot a lot of them, but Zion got a pretty strong. He can shoot the three, and he can make passes, averaging about 4 or 5 sets a game. So I mean, Zion can pretty much do it all, man. And if he's consistently knocking down that jumper, because I already know what's gonna happen. Come playoff time, they're gonna sit everybody back in the paint. They're gonna be like, Zion, no, we're gonna make you shoot. And if Zion can knock him down consistently, give us something, make that down 3-4 threes a game, everybody in the league is trouble, man. Because like I said, you got another dog in CJ. And we not even to mention Brandon Ingram, what he can do. Which arguably, you can argue Brandon Ingram is the best player on that team. I think that him and Zion are kind of neck and neck for the best player, but obviously it ain't no hate between them or anything like that. They both want to produce and things like that. But I'm just really interested to see what happens come playoff time, man, for sure. Both of those dudes are dogs for sure. But yeah, all around, man, the NBA, man, just who's that next guy? Obviously, that Wembanyama kid is gonna be it's gonna be scary when he comes in the league next year. Who gonna get him? That 7-2 guy. The league has just evolved, man, so much, man. The league has just evolved so much from the 3-point line. Even ball. I'm happy for him getting more. I think he plays for the Magic now, doesn't he? All them years the Nuggets sold the bag for sure in ball. They didn't play. They for some reason I don't know. They didn't play the dude. I don't know if they thought he was like too small, like as far not too small like height wise, but. Maybe they thought he was too small, like skinny-wise, but I like I said, Ball is another dude I was watching when I was in high school. All these dudes I already knew was going to be stars. It's just people got to give them opportunity. Same thing with Jaden Hardy with Dallas. I already knew he wasn't going to be in the G League for long. I think he just dropped 15 the other day. I played against that dude in high school. Jaden Hardy, they don't compare a dude to Bradley Beal for no reason. Like these dudes, some of these dudes that be in the G League and even Jonathan Kuminga. Why the heck is he in the G League? He's not in the G League now, but why the heck they keep bumping him G League, NBA, Jimmy? Like, keep him up top. He don't belong in the G League. Dudes with that level of talent, that level of athleticism, keep him in a rotation. Like, they don't belong in the G League. Some of these dudes, or they don't belong on the bench. And the Magic is definitely won by getting ball. Like a dude, like I said, 7'1", 7'2", with a handle, can shoot. Like I said, the NBA just evolved. So it's just like... your typical 6'4" guard with handles and stuff is cool, but like I said, you getting 7'2", 7'3", 7'4" freaks like Wembanyama coming in that can shoot, dribble, pass, like KD. It's like, how do you stop that? The NBA just evolving, man, for sure. But that wraps up this episode, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I have another channel, obviously, Emmanuel R&D. The link will be in the description down below. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Try to get more consistent, obviously, on these episodes, rolling them out. I know I took a little month break or whatever, thing like that, but I'm gonna, get more consistent, obviously. And really just, like I said, continue to blow this thing up, do my thing. Short episode today. I normally keep, if you guys are new to my podcast, I normally keep it to around, 30 minutes long, things like that. I might keep it long depending on, the guests and everything will come soon. But like I said, I took a break from having guests on and things like that because it felt like, for various reasons, but I'll have a guest on, if the opportunity presents itself. But I like doing it by myself as well. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just my thing. Talking about the stuff I love to do, I love to watch, things like that. Got a new topic, obviously, the Mr. Olympia, so I'm excited for that. And I'm gonna continue to talk about it. Like even next week, like I said, we're under a week away from the Mr. Olympia, so definitely, I'm gonna show you guys the results, who wins. Big Ronnie, Brandon Curry, we'll see. I'm definitely gonna keep a lookout for that. But that wraps up the episode, guys. See you.